Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are sharing our thoughts about Tim and Alex, part 1.
Listen, I wanted to do a final thoughts on each cast member after the reunion, but I've been getting a lot of comments. I've been hearing a lot of commentary. So I want to talk about Tim and Alex to respond to a lot of commentary and to respond to a lot of comments that I'm seeing. That is kind of disturbing, in my opinion, Blair.
Okay.
Right? We're going to call this a Chris rant.
Okay.
Because I'm sure I'm going to be ranting a lot. And just jump in whatever. Just reel me back and just, jump in whenever you feel.
Okay.
I'm hearing a lot of opinions about Tim, about him being controlling. I even seen attacks on his sexuality based on what he did and things like that. And let me jump on Tim just for a little bit. Tim, in the future, you will be proven right. You get what I'm saying? So there's no need to be on Instagram. There's no need to basically be on social media defending yourself. What happened. You get what I'm saying? Like at least wait to the reunion and things of that nature. But overall, Blair, what is your sense again for people who did not see or don't follow us on Love is Blind on the sentiment on how Alex and Tim broke up and things of that nature?
Yeah. I felt that the issues that they were having were things that could have been worked out.
That's true.
I felt like they could have had more communication about expectations within the relationship. But I also believe, number one, if Alex put her hands on Tim's mouth,
yes,
that is a reason to not be with somebody if they think that is okay.
Yeah.
But since he, said we're going to move forward, we're going to start fresh, and they did, okay, that's what their decision was as a couple.
Yeah.
Then when it gets to the part about her not prepping for his parents and putting in the same effort that he did, and then her taking naps and all those types of things, even that, I felt like, okay, we can have a conversation about this. I would have hoped that you would have handled it this way. And I think that Alex would have been really receptive and trying to do better or trying to meet some of his expectations when it came to entertaining and hosting and what that looks like for them as a couple.
Yeah.
Now, I will also say that Tim, if he is at the point in his life to where he feels like he doesn't want to have to explain certain things, which I do kind of feel like, even if you just take an hour nap and you've been talking to people for 4 hours, if they came 10 hours to spend time with you, girl, if you're tired of talking, put a movie on and just sit there.
Yeah.
Say, y'all want to watch this movie? And you don't got to talk to them. Even if you're not the type to snore, maybe you can turn and close your eyes for a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially the first meeting. Like, you guys are not familiar with each other, and it would have been nice for her to put her full effort forward.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel like she did.
Yeah.
And if Tim felt like, hey, this isn't the type of person that I want, she's not quite where she needs to be when it comes to a wife that I would want to have, and I don't want to have to help get her to that point, then I think that's totally fine for him to say, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
What I didn't like about it
Help
is
me.
how heavy-handed he was when he came about it.
Yeah.
I felt like he wasn't gracious. I didn't feel like Alex was malicious in the things that she was doing. So I didn't think it called for him to be like, I don't ever want to see you again and we can agree on this and all that type of stuff. I was just like, you're kind of giving her a little too much heat. For me, I felt she was just a little bit aloof.
Okay.
So,
and I agree with about 70% of what you said.
Yeah.
The strong 70 that I agree with, Blair, is he should have left her with dignity. With the whole like, I don't ever want to see you again. You are not. It's like you can end it while still leaving the person with some dignity.
Yeah.
Because number one, this is on TV. This is going to be forever on TV. Like, you get what I'm saying? But everything else, I think the problem that I have with a lot of people commentary is that they're not being honest, in my opinion. I think if the shoe was on the other foot, they would clearly see the wrong that happened in this relationship on Alex's part. And to give Alex a little bail to get her out of jail, she said in an interview post the season and things like that she did not put her hands on Tim. Right.
Well, I don't know. In the moment, she said she did.
In the moment, you did. So I'm like, I don't know what to believe because both things that were said, you said it. Do you get what I'm saying? So I do want to clarify that when we say put hands on, she did not hit him. It was a muzzle. It was basically a covering of the mouth or putting the hands in front of the mouth, whatever you want to describe it, but she did not physically like punch him or hit him and things like that. But let's list the ways, because one comment that I see a lot is Tim should have ended it in Mexico. That's one comment that we've seen a lot.
Okay,
Tim should
address that part.
Huh?
I said, yeah, let's address
the
part by part.
Let's address that part.
Okay.
Tim should have ended it in Mexico. I disagree. Because for one, that's the first argument y'all had. We would have viewed you as very cowardly, as someone who can't take disagreement. Even the stances of the disagreement that y'all told us, that she was basically just being cold about how she was homesick and how she just didn't want to talk. You was following her around saying, hey, talk to me. And for you to end it off of that, now I will say, you said that she called you out your name. We don't know what the name was, so I'm not going to put anything out there that's like, you know what I mean, oh, maybe she called. No, we don't know what the name was. You get what I'm saying? I think for that first thing, he should not have ended the relationship. I think it's easy to say that once we see a whole bunch of things of y'all should have just ended it in the beginning. I disagree, right? Now let's move on to the next thing.
Well, let me say my thing on that part.
Go ahead.
Okay. So my thoughts, man, I'm so in the middle about it, because I don't care if somebody puts their hand on you. That's not something that you agree to and then continue on in the relationship. I feel like at that point, you kind of pretty much have to be like, I don't do this.
Yeah.
and that would have pretty much been my line. You know, if you think that you can get this crazy and this worked up to where you can put your hands on me, even if it's not hitting, slapping, whatever, keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, like that, I would have looked at Tim. I'm not gonna lie. I would have looked at Tim in this situation, and maybe it's just a little bit of, just double standards.
Yeah,
like you're a man, so like maybe you guys can work through this type of thing. But if it was a woman, I definitely would have been like, "Girl, leave." Because at the end of the day, we all would have said she didn't hit you. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? I feel like where they was in the honeymoon, that was the stage for grace, because it's like, we just got here. So I don't fault Tim for not ending it in Mexico. You're like, we literally just got here. So them coming from that, I 100% with Tim of keep going with the relationship. But he have it in the back of his mind. Yeah. Right? I'm trying to show y'all how men think, because I'm hearing a lot of people talk about this. And one thing I love about this show is that y'all get to hear my wife and then y'all get to hear me. Right? So then we move on to her apartment. Right? Basically how Tim lives and how Alex lives. They was talking to the pods and basically like, oh yeah, no, I'm not messy. You know what? It's just mess, not dirty and stuff like that. We see how Tim keeps his house. The way Tim keeps his house, it should have gave you some type of like, maybe I need to go home and clean. Yeah. Like you get what I'm saying? The fact that I'm hearing a lot of people say, hey, maybe she needs to be tested for MS because her parents have MS. I say, unless we get a diagnosis, I'm not going to diagnose you on like this camera. You get what I'm saying? People say she's obviously going through depression. Unless it's confirmed that she's going through depression and things like that, I'm not going to put that on her, right? Only thing I know for a fact is that your apartment was not clean, right? He come in there, and I know people say it was just clothes everywhere. I know all them clothes wasn't clean. I know all them clothes on the ground wasn't clean clothes. And I saw plates in the room. So automatically, and then she's sitting on the couch saying that, oh, you know what? Like, I feel at peace here, though. So maybe some people who have more experience say she's obviously depressed, but I'm not saying that until we can confirm that, because as far as I know, I'm only going by what I see. Right? So far we have the Mexico and we have the apartment, right? Yeah. Now we are going to... Well, I didn't get to say my piece.
Go ahead.
So the apartment, that is a thing that people can judge you on, your level of cleanliness. Yes. So I necessarily wouldn't have been the one to be like, that's something. I felt like that's something that, you guys could probably work on, her being more organized and things like that. But if that's something to where he's like, I need you to kind of like come in with certain things already established because you're a grown adult and I don't want to have to tell a grown adult how to be organized, I'm not going to fault him for that. Exactly. So especially when he keeps his house a certain way, I could see him just being like, I don't know if I want to pair lives with somebody where I have to do that.
Exactly.
Especially with this show, you don't have the background of really loving the people. I know they say they love each other, but y'all don't really love each other for real.
All right.
Because there are different things that you'd be willing to work out because you love the person, but it's like they're kind of taking in all the information and deciding, actually, I don't love you.
Facts, right?
So
now we got the Mexico and we got the apartment. Guess what? Those are not the reasons why he broke up with Alex. I know people like to say, oh, he broke up with Alex. He did not break up with her because of Mexico. He did not break up with her because of the dirty apartment. You're like, oh, well, wow, Chris, what happened next? What happened next is now her parents come to town. Now, it's so important that he meets with her father because she knew she knew like Tim had to rise to that moment.
Yeah.
Right? It's important to me to get the blessing from my father, for you to meet my family. So she knows the importance of meeting someone's parents because she's like, hey, when you meet mine, like you have to get the blessing or else it won't happen. So we can say that she knows, right?
Yes.
Word. So he wakes up in the morning, he buys the groceries, right? He comes to the house and he grills for the family, right? He cooks for the family and he presents well. That's one thing we are not going to lie. If this was an interview, Tim got an A+. He looked the man dead in the eye. He said his intention. He wrote a letter to the father while they was in the pods.
Yeah.
And he reread that letter and to basically be honest in the moment, and to basically say his intention and to get the blessing from the father, he presented himself as an adult. He rose to the occasion. You right? From what he said, I brought the groceries, I cooked the food, and you did not wash the dishes. Right? Also, based on what we saw, she told Tim to make them a plate.
Yeah.
Right? What is your feelings on that?
My thoughts about that, I thought that Tim went above and beyond for his family.
He did.
And I think that also, we can't forget to mention that in the pods, they connected over their love and respect for family.
Yes.
And seeing this and kind of seeing how she was with his parents, I'm like, does Alex only love and respect her family? Or does family overall mean a huge thing to Alex?
That's a good question.
It was hard to tell based off the actions is all I'm saying. I'm not trying to, put any intentions in her, whatever, but I'm just saying it was hard to tell based off of the actions.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tim presented well. And I know that there has been a thought about, well, Tim shouldn't have made her dad cry if he knew that he didn't want to be with her and all this type of stuff. I honestly don't think he knew that in the moment.
He did not know.
I thought that they were trying to, start on a new path after Mexico and, trying to make things work.
Exactly.
And there were things that he was probably overlooking because he really cared for her. I'm not going to say he loved her, but he really cared for her. And he was willing to do what he wrote in his letter for that man's daughter.
Yes.
So
100%.
Yeah.
And if you're in a relationship, some people believe like, hey, if I cook, you wash the dishes and things like that. And guess what? Even though he had to make her parents a plate, and even though he had to wash the dishes after he cooked and brought the groceries and presented himself well, that's not the reason why he broke up with Alex.
Yeah. And I also don't want people, at least this is how I'm looking at it.
Help me.
Even though Tim had a laundry list of things to bring to her, I don't take it as he was creating a list of reasons to break up with her. I don't think he was harboring all these things. I think after a while it was just like, girl, enough is enough. Like, you are inconsiderate. Okay, yes, I looked over this thing. Yes, I just washed the dishes. It wasn't a big deal. But when we get to the point of the breakup, it's just like, I have to mention the other things because I feel like this is your character.
Yes. Now, here is why he broke up with Alex. Right? Now y'all gonna have to give me room on this one. Tim parents come.
10 hours.
10-hour drive in the sister's car. Tim made sure he wanted us to know that. Right? And I hear some people say nobody made them drive. I'm like, who raised y'all? It's not up to us to decide how they get there. Obviously, maybe some people want to drive 10 hours because they want the freedom of driving anywhere whenever they're in town. Obviously, they was going to be in town longer than that day, right? Tim parents comes, right? She presents herself. She hugs the mother with her hands in her pocket. Stop. What's in your pocket that's so important that you got to keep your hand in there? You get what I'm saying? So automatically, as I said in the video, that she's immature and she don't pick up on social cues. Like you don't know like just regular decorum when it comes to just situations. Or to Blair's point, potentially maybe you only care about that when it comes to your family.
And I think she's just aloof.
And when it comes to my family, it's like, oh, it is what it is, right? So she hugs the mother with the hands in the pocket, right? From what we hear from Tim, right? He goes to the store and he comes back. Alex is not downstairs. Alex is nowhere to be seen, right? He asks his parents, where's Alex? They said she's taking a nap. This is the reason why he broke up with Alex. Let me build it out for you. Even though in the past, I feel like a lot of the men was leading the conversation, what was Tim's major point in the conversations, Blair? Of every time he talked to Alex, he mentioned two people. And who was those two people?
His parents.
His sisters.
Sisters.
Okay, so Blair, so Blair's not paying attention. Look, this is why the guy got to come from the perspective, because I got put everybody on game.
Okay.
The two people he mentioned every time was his sister.
Yes, get us together, baby.
Right.
Yes.
And I even heard somebody say that Tim was trauma dumping on her, and he was emotionally volatile and things like that. And here's the thing about it. I can meet y'all halfway on this, but I'll meet y'all halfway in another way. When someone close to you die, that you wear that. You don't want, as much as we don't want to hear about the dead sisters, I promise you, he don't want to be the brother with two dead sisters. So can we at least empathize with that? That like this major life event that not only did he lose one sister, he lost both his sisters, right?
And it shaped him.
And it shaped him to who he is, right? He views life through that lens because it's a major trauma in his life. So everything he's speaking of, he talks about, I want to give my parents a daughter again. Remember, her parents had 3 children, and now he's the only one left, the youngest, right? And they are outliving their children. They are outliving their children. So to this point. So it's we got to empathize with that. So all this time he's talking about, hey, my sister, they are coming up in my sister's car. My sister passed away. Even if you go to Tim's Instagram right now, the thing that is pinned on his Instagram is a memoriam to his sisters. Like, it's who he is, right? So, Alex, for someone who you are about to marry, who you want to marry, right? You know that, okay, his parents is coming, right? I need to be on game, right? People in the comments saying, oh, she had to work that day and then come. So Tim had to work that day too. And if there's anybody who ever drove long distance, every year I drive 12 hours to visit my family, right? It's not the day that you arrive that you're tired. You're tired the day after. So who knows how the parents felt after driving 10 hours. But all y'all want to say is, well, she entertained them for 4 hours. Like, what is a 1 hour nap? And I'm just like, who raised y'all? Are y'all sick? And I'm like, they're not sick. They're single.
Oh, okay.
They don't know how, they don't have the decorum of a relationship. So I think the problem that we have on both sides when it comes to, especially in society today, amongst men and amongst women, is that there's a lack of rising to the occasion. There's a lack of, oh, you know what? Okay. He rose to the occasion for my parents, and now I'm meeting his parents, the parents of someone who had to bury both their children. These are important people to them. They come in his sister's car. I don't need to be Alex today. I need to be super Alex today. I need to be on game today because I really love this guy and I want to make a good impression on them. I don't want to fall asleep when guests is in the house. Like, and people say, well, she talked to them for 4 hours. They said she talked to them, and then when the cameras went down, she went to take a nap. Anybody who knows anything about having a conversation and entertaining guests, 4 hours go like that.
Yeah.
4 hours is nothing, right? And my whole thing is,
yeah, I could be out to lunch with friends up until dinner time.
So like,
talking for 5 hours.
And I understand the pressure of having entertained, but guess what? You're not a girlfriend. You're a fiance who's about to marry this guy. You get what I'm saying? So like this whole thing of, let me continue on. She also did not bring anything to like the house.
Yeah.
I heard somebody say, well, how come Tim didn't prepare for his parents? He did, right? But the whole point is rising to the occasion. Depending on what Blair goes through in her life, I have to be super Chris. Depending on what I go through in my life, Blair got to be super Blair. And it's considerate. And my thing is, Alex knew the importance of meeting someone's parents because she made sure Tim cooked, made the plate, washed the dishes.
And also, don't mention that we're already married. Like, ask for my dad's hand in marriage first.
So she knew.
Lie to my daddy.
Lie to my daddy. That's why I'm not wearing the ring. So she knew. Don't give me the whole. And I'm not attacking you, Blair, but I'm gonna give you a little pow. Okay. Don't give me like, oh, she's a little. She just didn't know. She knew. She just didn't care. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And my thing is, I'm hearing all these people, and they making me feel like, am I senile? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I'm not senile. A lot of y'all are just single. Mm-hmm. And y'all just don't understand that, hey, when you are meeting my parents for the first time, don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
like that is simple math that doesn't have to be said. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, and if Tim was the one that cooked, right, and then we pan the camera to the corner, and we see Tim over there dozing off, y'all would say, girl, no. So, like, why don't y'all understand that? So, excuse me. So we go into the apartment, and it's funny. Whenever you see a scene with Tim and Alex, Tim is always walking into the apartment. You're like, okay, what happened with y'all now?
Yeah.
You right? He comes in, he sits on the couch. Alice is at the island or whatever, and she's eating her chicken wings, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, can we talk? She said, I haven't eaten all day, right? I understand that. But obviously this is an important conversation. And he said, I would like to, like, you know, look at you when I'm talking. She brings the food over to have the conversation with Tim. While Tim is giving his grievances, right? She's eating while he's talking. It shows lack of this is an important conversation I'm trying to have. And without the conversation, we learned throughout the time, he helped her with the car, and he told her, hey, make sure you check your tires, and she did not respond to his text. And then when he finally heard from her, like, why didn't you respond to me? She said, I was napping. I need to take naps. I love to take naps. And now Tim is just putting all this in my head. Like, every time I try to talk to you, every time it's something important, you always sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? What do you have to add to like that point?
Just things that I feel like I noticed about Alex.
Yeah.
I think that she's got a little bit of selfishness in her.
Help me.
And I think that when you're transitioning from singledom to being in a relationship to even possibly being married, there might be a need for a time of transition from doing what you want and what you feel like to, like you would say, rising to the occasion to being a solid partner for your partner. Yeah. So I feel like she just hasn't shaken off some of those selfish ways in order for her to show up for her partner. Like when it came to falling asleep, you couldn't try to push through to stay awake. Like, was that even a thought of, it's important, even though I would like to take a nap, let me see if I can try to stay awake at least until like 8. Like, that's pretty, like,
or until they leave.
But I don't know if they were spending the night because they were at Tim's house. So I'm like, maybe she could have stayed until 8 and she was like, y'all, I got to start winding down or whatever the case may be, like to a reasonable time. But to me, I don't even know if those things cross Alex's mind of, I would like to do this, but I should do this, so let me make an effort. I'm just seeing a little bit of a lack of effort on her part. And even when it came to them sitting down, have the conversation, he wants to talk to her, and it took for him to tell her, come sit in front of me.
Yes.
Girl.
Here.
Come sit in front of me. You know, for her to be like, oh, you want me to sit in front of you? It's just like, Alex, are you thinking about... And
I'm going to bring these wings because I'm still hungry.
I'm like, are you thinking about what would be the best option in the scenario, or are you just thinking about what you want to do and what makes you the most comfortable?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm like, I can totally understand where you're thinking of you top priority and your family and whatever you want to do and making yourself most comfortable. I get it. But when you're transitioning into a partnership of a lifetime, like, you have to consider the other person. Yes. And I just felt like she didn't make any type of effort, even thinking about making the effort for him.
Yes. So it's not Tim being controlling. It's not Tim being sassy and things of that nature.
I'll say that he was being a little sassy.
I don't think he was
being
sassy.
Being a little bit sassy.
I think, in my opinion,
he could have handled it different.
I think, in my opinion, he wanted to make her cry. That's why he's hitting her with the, and I never want to see you again. Like, he's basically trying to put the hurt on her that he felt. And I'm just like, leave her with some dignity, bro. Like, especially since y'all go see each other at the reunion again. Leave her with some dignity, right? But at the end of the day, Alex was immature, inconsiderate, selfish, didn't know social cues or didn't care to know them because she knew them when it came to her parents. But when it came to his parents, she came empty-handed. People saying you got to teach people what to expect when it comes to them. Well, yes and no, right? Because at the end of the day, I would expect you when you hug somebody, don't have your hand in your pocket.
Well, I will say this at least. When it comes to Alex, even though, because the words that I choose to use, we got two halves of the table of how we perceive things.
Yeah.
The words I choose to use for her are maybe inconsiderate, a little bit selfish, and aloof. Okay. And for me, I think that those things can be worked on with communication and time. And for this short of a time period, I just don't think it was going to work out.
No, it wasn't.
And I do see that there are some flaws on Tim's part as well, but we're talking about the breakup and what exactly caused the breakup. I think Tim was annoying at times. I think he was a bit obnoxious. I felt like he tried to poke her to irritate her, but that was not the cause for the breakup.
No.
So, but continue.
And my comment is to y'all, to the ones who the commenters saying she just went to sleep. What's the big deal with that? And I'm just like, y'all single.
Okay.
Like anybody, y'all not gonna make me think something wrong with me. If I have her parents here for the first time and we're getting married in 10 days, that it's good for me once the cameras say, okay, y'all, we out of here. And for me to be like, I'm about to go upstairs and take a nap. If you only need an hour nap, then you don't need an hour nap. First of all, once you're in a relationship, you kind of learn little tricks of the trade of when you're tired. What Alex should have did was, you know what? Can I go to the store with you, Tim? Left them there, because this ain't the first time of them being at Tim's house. So they're more comfortable there than she is. While they are in the car going to the store, get your little shut-eye in. But don't get no shut-eye while my mother here. You get what I'm saying? And it's just all these excuses that I'm hearing from people. She had to work all day. And, they filmed for 4 hours. Alex was used to the filming because she was in the pods.
And to me, these are all selfish reasons. Of course, she feels like she wants to do what she wants to do. But when you're trying to get to know your partner's parents for the first time and trying to make a good impression and actually genuinely trying to spend time and getting to know them before the wedding, yes, I had a long day. Yes, all these types of things. But I'm going to make the effort to do this thing for the person that I say I love.
And guess what?
So,
because I worked all day and because I am tired, I did not cook anything. But I went to the store and I brought something.
Yes, or I got to come into the house in 10 minutes, y'all. Just give me a second. I'll get it set up for y'all.
And I think that's the reason why Tim ended this relationship. He's like, I don't want to marry a little girl and things like that. I don't want to have to teach them to not go to sleep on my mama, not to go to sleep on my daddy and things like that. Especially since I shared with you how important it was to me. It's one thing if Tim was the type of guy to be a hypocrite in the sense of, hey, I want you to treat this with importance, but when it came to her, he didn't treat her with importance. He treated her situation with the utmost respect. The utmost. He paid for the groceries, he cooked the groceries, he made the plates, he washed the dishes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people rather see it as a big discretion that she didn't wash the dishes more than she going to sleep with my parents. And I'm like, no. The one reason supports all the other.
Yeah.
And the one reason why they broke up is because when it came to meeting my mom and my daddy, you wanted to be selfish, as Blair would like to use that word, and you did the easy thing. You wanted to lay down. He said it was just for an hour. No.
You didn't try.
You didn't. And people like, she probably did try. She worked a hard day. Tim worked that day too. And my parents drove 10 hours the day previously, and they ain't young. So everybody was giving. Everybody was sacrificing. And I think Alex would make a great girlfriend who can learn those tricks, that can learn those trades within a relationship, someone who can grow with her
and communicate with her. And I think she's very receptive. So I'm like,
I don't know.
I'm like, I think she can get there. She's just not there within 2 weeks, which is a crazy process. She's not there yet.
Well, she knew she wasn't there because she signed up for the show.
Well, I don't see, for me, I think she really, I felt she's kind of the example of you don't know what you don't know. That's how I
don't give people that pass because she gave him the list of things to do when it came to her parents.
Okay.
So I'm like, so don't tell me you didn't know, because if that's the case, we would have met your parents and there would have been no food. You would have been wearing the ring. I wouldn't know what to do when it came to your you prepared me and things like that, and not even prepared me, but you expected me to rise to the occasion. I expect you to do the same.
All right.
As if you're meeting your parents. So my thing is this. Alex would probably make a great girlfriend who can learn those tricks and trades and things like that, even though she's in her late 20s or early 30s and things like that. I feel like those are things that, if you sign up to be a wife, that you kind of have those basic tricks already. I think she make a great girlfriend somebody who would give her the grace to learn those things while she wait on a ring. 2 years, you get what I'm saying? 3 years. But they was getting married in less than 10 days from that moment. They known each other for less than 40 days at that moment. You get what I'm saying? And Tim had to make a decision. And I don't see a problem with his decision or the reason why he made the decision. Maybe some people feel like he was sassy with making his decision. But he had the right to make that decision. And I just want to let y'all know that anybody who don't agree that going to sleep while my mama and daddy downstairs, y'all are the crazy ones, not me.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, everybody who agree with me, because there are some people, because you know how we like to speak of the comments that as if it's more bad comments than good comments. Majority of the people see the light.
Yeah.
Some people just gonna be left in outer darkness, okay? Some people just ain't gonna see it. And some people just gonna see it. I just don't see the problem. Like, she was talking to them for 4 hours. So I don't see how they could just, like, to be mad that she took a nap, because my mama and daddy's still downstairs. And it's important for you to talk to them outside of filming.
Right.
Because guess what? When it comes to us being married, that's gonna be outside of filming.
Yeah.
I'm just
like, maybe the second or third visit, because I mean, yes, you get comfortable, you go to people's houses, they take a nap while you chill and watch TV or whatever. No. But I'm just like, maybe as y'all get to know each other, like, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but not the first meeting.
No. Let me retract that now. Don't go to sleep on the second visit. Don't go to sleep on the third visit. Host the house.
Yeah.
Host.
Yeah, that's true.
Host.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a partner here. I'm not looking for a child.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? There's no reason for you to go to sleep when my mama and daddy is downstairs.